Disagreement tests tone more than logic. In a meeting, a colleague challenges your point and everyone looks for your reaction. You do not raise volume, you do not speed up, and the room settles. The observable behavior is vocal pace control under pushback, where your tempo stays unchanged. The effect is authority preservation because stable pace signals low threat response, and low threat response reads as higher rank than emotional urgency. This shows up when you answer at the same speed you began. You can recognize it when someone is challenged and their voice climbs, words stack, and they start selling because the disagreement has pulled them into a lower position. Speed is the first status leak. You are presenting a plan and someone says it will not work. You let the comment land, then you ask for the specific failure point without defending yourself. The observable behavior is constraint framing, where you steer the disagreement into a narrow, testable issue. The effect is that you keep control of the conversation architecture, and the other person loses the ability to spray doubt across the whole idea. In practice, this means you reduce their objection to one concrete point. You can recognize it when someone answers criticism with a wide explanation because they are trying to win emotionally instead of controlling the frame. Keep it tight, not loud. A client rejects your recommendation and offers their own solution. You acknowledge their preference once, then you return to consequences without arguing about taste. The observable behavior is consequence anchoring, where you speak only about outcomes that follow choices. The effect is authority survival because you shift the interaction from ego to cost, and cost is the language of decision makers, not debaters. This is done by linking each option to a predictable result. You can recognize it when someone keeps debating who is right and the room begins treating them as insecure because authority does not need to win, it needs to steer. Ego debates bleed status fast. A team member disagrees with you in front of others. You do not correct their tone or remind them of hierarchy, you correct the process. The observable behavior is procedural redirect, where you move the disagreement into the proper channel. The effect is that you remain above the emotional fight, and the group learns you control access, timing, and decision flow, which is real authority. This shows up when you say, "We will take that after this point." You can recognize it when someone gets challenged and starts demanding respect because they are trading structure for validation. Structure beats respect requests. You are in a negotiation, and the other side uses a sharp tone to tilt you. You reply with the same calm face and a shorter sentence than theirs. The observable behavior is brevity under aggression, where you do not match their energy. The effect is authority preservation because matching energy makes you reactive, and reactive people can be moved, while brief, calm replies make the aggressor carry the emotional weight alone. In practice, this means you answer in one clean line. You can recognize it when someone gets baited and starts explaining more because the aggressor has successfully forced them into defense. Do not carry their emotion. A colleague points out an error you made and waits for you to squirm. You accept the correction without self-defense and move straight to the adjustment. The observable behavior is clean ownership, where you do not add excuses or self-pity. The effect is authority survival because excuses signal vulnerability to judgment, and vulnerability invites others to pile on or manage you. This is done by naming the fix, not the story. You can recognize it when someone adds context, blame, and reasons because they are trying to protect identity instead of maintaining position. Explanations often beg for mercy. Someone challenges your decision with a long speech designed to overwhelm. You let them finish, then you summarize their point in one sentence before responding. The observable behavior is summary dominance, where you compress their argument into your language. The effect is authority retention because the person who summarizes controls meaning, and meaning control decides what is even being debated. This shows up when you restate their point more clearly than they did. You can recognize it when someone responds line by line because they have accepted the other person's structure and are now trapped inside it. Own the meaning, not the volume. A partner disagrees with you at home and tries to turn it into character judgment. You do not defend your character, you pull it back to the single behavior in question. The observable behavior is depersonalization, where you refuse identity framing. The effect is authority survival because character debates create endless ground, and endless ground makes you chase approval, which is a low status posture. In practice, this means you talk about one action and one outcome. You can recognize it when someone says you always and you find yourself proving you are not that person because they have moved you from decision to identity. Identity traps people into pleading. In a meeting, someone says you are being unfair. You do not justify fairness, you name the rule and apply it evenly in the moment. The observable behavior is rule referencing, where you anchor to a standard that exists outside feelings. The effect is that disagreement becomes compliance with process, not approval of you, and that keeps your authority intact even if they dislike the decision. This is done by stating the rule without defending it. You can recognize it when someone argues fairness emotionally because they are trying to make you negotiate your standards, and negotiated standards become optional. Standards that bend become jokes. A direct report disagrees, you answer, and they keep pushing. You stop adding new reasons and you repeat the decision in the same words. The observable behavior is non-escalation repetition, where you do not widen the debate with extra justifications. The effect is authority survival because every new reason you add creates a new target, and targets invite more argument until the other person is running your time and your state. This shows up when you keep the message identical. You can recognize it when someone keeps explaining and the other person keeps hunting for a crack because the extra reasons are the crack. Then you go quiet and look at them.